Chief Engineer Dongwoo Kim was sitting in the engine room of his cargo hauler *reliable*, drinking coffee from a cup that had been repaired with metal tape at least 6 times, when the most urgent transmission he had ever received came crackling through the ship's old communication system. The message was coming from the Galactic Engineering Consortium, an organization that represented the most advanced civilizations in known space. Kim had heard of the consortium before, but he had never imagined that they knew Earth existed, much less that they would ever contact human engineers for any reason. "This is Consortium Director Velkorn broadcasting on emergency frequency 7, the alien voice said through the static and interference that always plagued the *reliable's communication equipment. "We are experiencing an unprecedented mechanical failure crisis affecting multiple star systems." Kim nearly dropped his coffee cup. The Galactic Engineering Consortium was responsible for maintaining the technological infrastructure that kept galactic civilization running. If they were calling for help, something was seriously wrong. "Every machine in 3 star systems has stopped working simultaneously," Director Velkorn continued, his voice carrying a tone of panic that Kim had never heard from galactic representatives before. "Our most sophisticated engineering minds cannot identify the cause of this failure. We are requesting immediate assistance from all available technical personnel." Mechanic Hyojun Lee looked up from where he was working on the ship's coffee maker, using duct tape and spare parts to fix a problem with the heating element that had been bothering the crew for weeks. Lee was a small, grease-stained man who had spent his entire career fixing things that other people had given up on. "Did he just say they want our help?" Lee asked, wiping his hands on a dirty rag. "We're barely a spacefaring civilization. Our ships are held together with tape and good intentions." "That's exactly why they called us," explained systems analyst So-Minute Choi, looking up from her workstation where she had been monitoring galactic communication networks. Choi was responsible for understanding how alien technology worked, though most of her knowledge came from studying broken equipment that Earth's military had recovered from crash sites. "They want a primitive perspective from simple engineers," she continued. "According to the transmission logs I've been tracking, they've already consulted with every advanced engineering civilization in the galaxy. None of them have been able to solve the problem." Kim activated the ship's main communication system and began reading through the detailed technical specifications that Director Velkorn was broadcasting to anyone willing to listen. The scope of the crisis was larger than anything Kim had imagined possible. The problem involved something called the Quantum Resonance Network, a galaxy-spanning system of perfectly engineered machines that provided power distribution, faster-than-light communication, and transportation coordination to billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. These machines had been built by the galaxy's most advanced civilizations using technology that was supposed to be perfect and permanent. The engineering was so sophisticated that most of the machines had been running without any maintenance or repair for over 300 years. And now, for reasons that no one could understand, they were all shutting down at exactly the same time. "The interesting thing," Choi said, reading through the technical data, "is that they're not breaking in the way you'd expect machines to break. There's no visible damage, no component failures, no system errors. They're just stopping." Maintenance specialist Junsu Park, who had been listening to the conversation while working on the ship's navigation computer, looked up with confusion. "Wait, they said these machines haven't had maintenance in 300 years. "According to the specifications, the machines were designed to never require maintenance," Kim replied. "Perfect engineering that eliminates all possible failure points." "That's impossible," Park said flatly. "Everything breaks eventually. Metal wears down, circuits degrade, moving parts get dirty. Even the best-built machine needs cleaning and repair." Lee nodded in agreement while testing his repaired coffee maker, which was now working better than it had when the ship was new. These aliens must have some pretty amazing technology if they can build machines that run for centuries without any maintenance at all. What the human engineers did not realize was that Earth's approach to engineering was fundamentally different from anything the galaxy had ever seen. While alien civilizations spent centuries perfecting machines that would never break under ideal conditions, humans had spent their entire technological history learning to build machines that would continue working even when they were broken. Kim made a decision that would change galactic engineering forever. "Send a response to Director Velkorn. Tell him we're available to assist with their mechanical problems." "Sir," Choi said carefully, "are you sure about this? We're talking about technology that's hundreds of years more advanced than anything we have. What could we possibly do that their best engineers haven't already tried?" Kim looked around the engine room of the *reliable*, taking in the patched hull plates, the jury-rigged systems, and the equipment that had been repaired so many times that the original components were barely visible under layers of modifications and fixes. Dr. Choi, their best engineers have spent centuries learning to build perfect machines that never break, he said with a smile. We've spent centuries learning to fix machines that never stop breaking. And you think that's going to help them? I think, Kim replied, that the galaxy is about to learn why good enough engineering that works all the time is superior to perfect engineering that stops working when reality gets involved. As the reliable changed course toward the crisis zone, Kim began assembling a team of Earth's most experienced mechanics, repair specialists, and equipment fixers. None of them had advanced degrees or sophisticated training. All of them had spent their careers making broken things work again. The galaxy was about to discover that sometimes the best solution to perfect engineering was imperfect engineers who understood that everything breaks eventually. The human engineering team arrived at Central Hub Station aboard their converted cargo hauler, docking at what was clearly the least prestigious berth in the entire facility. The station itself was a monument to galactic engineering achievement, a massive structure built from materials that seemed to glow with their own inner light, featuring architectural designs that defied the basic physics that human engineers understood. Chief Engineer Dong-Woo Kim stepped off his ship and immediately felt out of place among the sophisticated alien technology surrounding him. The docking bay alone was larger than most Earth cities, filled with vessels from across the galaxy that represented engineering capabilities hundreds of years beyond anything humanity had achieved. His team looked equally uncomfortable in their basic work uniforms and carrying simple toolkits that appeared primitive compared to the advanced diagnostic equipment being used by alien technical teams throughout the facility. The station's main engineering center was in complete chaos when Kim's team arrived. Hundreds of the galaxy's finest engineers from dozens of different species were working frantically at computer terminals, running diagnostic programs, and arguing in multiple languages about theories that might explain the unprecedented mechanical failure. "Welcome, primitive engineers," said Chief Technical Analyst Prexmore as the human delegation entered the main engineering bay. The alien's voice carried the same condescending tone that a university professor might use when addressing elementary school children who had wandered into an advanced physics lecture. Prexmore was a tall, thin being from the Zentorian Collective, a species known throughout the galaxy for their mathematical approach to engineering problems. His silver skin reflected the light from dozens of holographic displays showing technical schematics that were too complex for Kim to understand. "Perhaps your simple minds can see solutions that our advanced intellects have missed," Prexmore continued, gesturing toward the massive machine at the center of the engineering bay. "We have exhausted all logical approaches to this problem." Engineer Kim walked directly toward the malfunctioning quantum resonance core, ignoring the protests from alien technicians who tried to warn him about safety protocols and proper procedures for approaching such sophisticated equipment. The core was a structure the size of a small building, made from what appeared to be living crystal that pulsed with faint internal light. It was beautiful in an alien way, with perfectly smooth surfaces and geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Kim walked around the entire structure, examining it from every angle with the critical eye of someone who had spent his career fixing broken machinery. What he saw made him frown with confusion. "When did you last clean this thing?" he asked, turning to face the assembled alien engineers. The question caused a moment of complete silence in the engineering bay. Dozens of alien technical experts looked at each other with expressions of confusion, as if Kim had asked something that made no sense. "Clean it?" Prexmore repeated, his mathematical mind struggling to process the concept. "It is a perfect machine designed for optimal efficiency. It does not require cleaning or maintenance of any kind." Maintenance specialist Jinsu Park, who had been examining the base of the core structure, began laughing despite the serious situation. The laughter started as quiet chuckling but grew into genuine amusement as he realized what he was seeing. "Everything requires maintenance," Park said, pulling out his basic toolkit and setting it down on the pristine floor of the engineering bay. "I don't care how perfect your engineering is, every machine needs cleaning, adjustment, and repair." "But our design eliminates all maintenance requirements," protested engineering supervisor Kexmore. "The quantum resonance core is sealed for optimal efficiency. There are no access panels, no maintenance ports, no repair interfaces." Systems analyst So-Minute Choi had been studying the technical specifications displayed on the alien computer systems, and her analysis revealed something that made her understand why the human team had been called to help. "You built machines that cannot be repaired," she said, her voice filled with amazement and horror. "Your engineering philosophy assumes that perfect machines will never need fixing." Technician Eunji Nam was already pulling cutting tools from her equipment pack. She was a short, muscular woman who had spent 20 years fixing industrial equipment in Earth's harshest environments. Her approach to mechanical problems was simple and direct. "Nothing is perfect," she said matter-of-factly as she began cutting into the crystal housing that surrounded the core mechanism. "Everything breaks eventually. The question is whether you can fix it when it does." The alien engineers watched in horror as Nam's cutting torch began slicing through crystal that had been undisturbed for 3 centuries. Alarms began sounding throughout the facility as safety systems detected unauthorized access to critical infrastructure. "Stop," shouted Technical Director Velkorn. "You are damaging a priceless piece of galactic engineering. That core represents 300 years of perfect design and optimal functionality." "And it's been broken for weeks," Nam replied, continuing to cut despite the protests and alarms. "Perfect design that can't be fixed is worthless when something goes wrong." As her cutting tool penetrated deeper into the crystal structure, Kim began to understand what they were dealing with. The aliens had created machines that were works of art as much as they were functional devices. Every component was designed for beauty as well as efficiency, with no consideration given to the possibility that repairs might someday be necessary. "Your engineering philosophy is backwards," Kim said to the increasingly agitated alien technical team. "You design machines hoping they'll never break. We design machines assuming they'll break constantly." Mechanic Lee had found a way to access some of the core's peripheral systems by removing decorative panels that the aliens had never considered to be removable. "Look at this," he called to his teammates. "Every connection is permanent. Every component is sealed. Every system is designed to last forever." "And when something wears out?" asked Park. "Nothing was supposed to wear out," replied Prexmore defensively. "Our calculations indicated that these machines would function perfectly for at least 10,000 years under normal operating conditions." Kim walked over to where Nam was still cutting into the crystal housing, sending sparks and crystal dust flying in all directions. "But you didn't plan for abnormal operating conditions, did you? You didn't design these machines to be repaired by regular people using basic tools." "Why would we?" asked Engineering Supervisor Kexmore. "Perfect engineering eliminates the need for crude repair techniques." Nam's cutting tool finally penetrated the inner housing of the quantum resonance core, and what the human team found inside would fundamentally change how the galaxy approached mechanical engineering. The core interior was filled with dust, debris, and 3 centuries of accumulated microscopic damage that the self-repair systems had been unable to handle. Components that should have been cleaned regularly were clogged with particles. Connections that needed periodic adjustment had drifted out of alignment. Systems that required occasional recalibration had slowly degraded until they could no longer function. "There's your problem," Kim said, pointing to the mess inside the supposedly perfect machine. "You built something that can't be maintained, and then you were surprised when it needed maintenance." The alien engineers stared at the dirty, damaged interior of their perfect machine with expressions of shock and disbelief. Their entire understanding of mechanical engineering was based on the idea that sufficiently advanced technology could eliminate all maintenance requirements. "But our designs were mathematically perfect," whispered Prexmore, looking at 3 centuries of accumulated wear and tear that his calculations had insisted was impossible. Technician Nam was already beginning the cleaning and repair process, using simple tools and basic techniques that looked primitive compared to the sophisticated equipment the aliens had been using. "Perfect designs work perfectly until they don't," she said, scrubbing away decades of accumulated grime with industrial solvent and a steel brush. "Good enough designs work poorly all the time, but they never completely stop." What the human team had found inside the galaxy's most advanced machine would revolutionize engineering across galactic civilization. Inside the supposedly perfect quantum resonance core, the human engineering team discovered something that would fundamentally challenge every principle of galactic mechanical design. The interior of the crystal structure was filled with 3 centuries of accumulated microscopic damage, dust particles, and wear patterns that the automated self-repair systems had been completely unable to handle. Chief Engineer Dongwoo Kim knelt down inside the core housing and ran his fingers along components that had not been touched by maintenance hands for longer than human civilization had existed. What he found was exactly what any experienced Earth engineer would have expected to find in any machine that had been running for 300 years without proper care. "Your machines are like expensive racing cars," Kim explained to the horrified alien engineers who were watching the humans work. "Beautiful, efficient, perfectly designed for optimal performance, and completely helpless when something goes wrong." The alien technical teams had been trained to think of their machines as permanent installations that would function flawlessly forever. The concept that mechanical systems might require regular cleaning, adjustment, and component replacement was completely foreign to their engineering philosophy. Repair specialist Tai Young-oh had been assigned to work on the core's primary processing unit, a delicate crystalline matrix that controlled power distribution across 3 star systems. The alien engineers watched in horror as he began using what appeared to be crude mechanical tools to repair components that had been designed using mathematical precision. Human machines break constantly, Oh explained while using a hammer and chisel to remove crystalline deposits that had built up over centuries, so we designed them to be repaired by idiots using basic tools that you can buy anywhere. To the alien observers, Oh's repair techniques looked like savage destruction of priceless technology. He was chipping away crystal formations with manual tools, cleaning components with industrial solvents, and replacing delicate parts with crude metal substitutes that he fabricated using portable equipment. But that repair approach is terribly inefficient, protested Technical Director Kexvol, watching Oh replace a perfectly crafted crystal component with a piece of metal that looked like it had been hammered into shape by hand. Your substitutions will reduce operational efficiency by significant percentages. But it's reliable, corrected Technician Eun-ji Nam, who was working on a different section of the core using equally crude repair methods. She was replacing entire crystalline circuit boards with simple metal wiring that looked like something a child might create in a basic electronics class. Efficient machines work perfectly until something goes wrong, and then they stop working completely, Nam continued, splicing wires together with techniques that had been used on Earth for over a century. Reliable machines work poorly all the time, but they never completely stop functioning. Systems analyst So-Minute Choi had been documenting the philosophical differences between human and alien approaches to engineering design. Her findings revealed why the crisis had occurred and why human solutions were working. Galactic engineering optimizes for perfection under ideal conditions, she explained to a group of alien technical experts who were studying her research data. Every component is designed to perform at maximum efficiency when everything else in the system is also working perfectly. That is correct, replied Chief Analyst Prexmore. Mathematical optimization requires that all variables be controlled for maximum system performance. But human engineering optimizes for continued function under terrible conditions, Choi continued. We assume that something will always be broken, supplies will be limited, and repairs will be performed by people who don't really understand how the system works. The difference in philosophy was becoming clear to everyone watching the repair process. While alien engineers had spent centuries eliminating all possible failure points from their designs, human engineers had spent the same time learning to build machines that would continue working even when multiple failure points occurred simultaneously. Within 3 days of beginning their repairs, the human team had restored basic function to the quantum resonance network using techniques and materials that violated every principle of advanced galactic engineering. Equipment designer Jun Ho-on decided to demonstrate the fundamental difference between human and alien mechanical philosophy by conducting what he called a reliability test in front of the assembled alien engineers. This machine, he said, pointing to a power generator that he had built using human design principles, looks crude and inefficient compared to your beautiful crystalline technology. The generator was indeed ugly by galactic standards. It was made from basic metal components, used simple mechanical connections instead of crystalline matrices, and produced noise and heat that more advanced alien technology had eliminated. But watch what happens when I deliberately break it, On said, taking a hammer from his toolkit. The alien engineers gasped in horror as he began systematically damaging components of his own machine. He broke control circuits, damaged cooling systems, and knocked mechanical parts out of alignment. The generator continued running. How is that possible? Asked Technical Supervisor Velmok, staring at the damaged machine that somehow continued to produce power despite being visibly broken. Because it's designed to work when it's broken, On replied, pointing to backup systems, redundant components, and simple mechanical linkages that automatically compensated for the damage he had inflicted. Your machines are designed to work perfectly when everything is perfect, he continued. Our machines are designed to work badly when everything is broken. The galaxy watched in amazement as human engineering technology proved superior not through sophistication, but through its deliberate acceptance of imperfection and damage. Dr. Choi was receiving reports from across the galactic communication network as news of the human engineering solutions spread to other worlds experiencing similar mechanical failures. Director, she reported to Consortium Director Velkorn, 17 other star systems are requesting immediate human engineering assistance. They want our repair teams to fix their perfect machines using our imperfect methods. The revelation was spreading throughout galactic civilization like a virus. The most advanced engineering in the galaxy had been defeated by problems that human mechanics solved every day as part of their normal work routine. But why do you build machines expecting them to break? Asked Chief Analyst Prexmore, his mathematical mind still struggling to understand the human approach. Mechanic Hyo-jun Lee looked up from where he was teaching alien engineers how to perform basic maintenance using tools that cost less than their daily meal allowances. Because on Earth, everything breaks, he said simply. Our weather is unpredictable, our environment is hostile, and our equipment gets used by people who don't follow instructions. So we learn to build machines that work even when they are damaged, dirty, and operated incorrectly. The quantum resonance network was now functioning better than it had in decades, restored by humans using techniques that looked primitive but produced results that surpassed anything galactic engineering had achieved. Word of the successful repair of the quantum resonance network spread through galactic engineering communities faster than anyone had expected. Within 2 weeks of the Central Hub Station incident, Earth's engineering corps began receiving urgent requests for mechanical assistance from star systems across known space. Director Sung-ho Yo found himself managing the largest deployment of human technical personnel in Earth's short interstellar history. His office had been converted into a mission control center, with holographic displays showing dozens of engineering emergencies scattered throughout galactic civilization. Sir, reported deployment coordinator Ha-young Jung, walking into his office with yet another stack of urgent requests. We've received formal assistance requests from 42 different star systems in the past week. Every single request specifically asks for human engineers who can fix machines that cannot be fixed. Yo studied the map of deployment requests, noting that they covered everything from planetary life support failures to interstellar communication breakdowns. Each crisis involved sophisticated alien technology that had stopped working for reasons that local engineers could not understand or repair. Assemble specialized teams, Yo ordered. Each team will carry the same basic philosophy that worked at Central Hub Station: assume everything is broken and build solutions that work anyway. Team Alpha was deployed to handle a planetary life support crisis on Harmony World, where the atmospheric processing systems had failed completely. The planet was home to 12 billion beings who would die within weeks if breathable air could not be restored. Chief Mechanic Minute Jung Kang arrived with her engineering team to find the local technical experts in complete despair. Their atmospheric processes were works of art, beautiful crystalline structures that had maintained perfect atmospheric balance for over 2 centuries. The systems are completely unresponsive, explained Planetary Engineer Supervisor Zextan as he showed Kang through the processing facilities. We have run every diagnostic protocol in our database, but we cannot identify why the processes have stopped functioning. Kang walked through the facility and immediately identified the problem. The atmospheric processes had been designed as closed systems that were never meant to be opened or serviced. 3 centuries of operation had caused microscopic wear that had accumulated into major system failures. Your processes are perfect, she told the alien engineers, but perfection becomes fatal when something breaks. How do you propose to repair systems that were designed to never need repair? Asked Technical Coordinator Vexmol. We replaced them, Kang replied simply. What happened next shocked every engineering expert on the planet. Kang's team began building replacement atmospheric processes using human design principles, crude, mechanical systems with exposed pipes, manual controls, and access panels everywhere. Your machines are terribly ugly, observed Supervisor Zextan as he watched the humans construct atmospheric processes that looked like primitive industrial equipment compared to the elegant crystalline structures they were replacing. They are unstoppable, Kang replied, demonstrating one of her crude processes by deliberately damaging several components. The machine continued running, automatically compensating for the damage. Pretty machines stop working when something goes wrong. Ugly machines just get uglier and keep working anyway. The replacement systems that Kang's team installed looked embarrassingly primitive compared to the original processes, but they restored breathable atmosphere to the entire planet within 72 hours. More importantly, the new systems came with detailed maintenance manuals and repair instructions that could be followed by anyone with basic mechanical skills. Research Director Jay Minute On had been assigned to study and document the differences between human and alien engineering approaches. His analysis revealed patterns that explained why human solutions were working when alien technology failed. The fundamental difference is philosophical, he reported to Director Yo during their daily briefing session. Galactic engineering assumes constant perfection and becomes helpless when reality interferes with optimal conditions. And human engineering? Human engineering assumes constant failure and designs accordingly, On replied. Every human machine is built expecting that something will break, someone will use it incorrectly, and repairs will be performed under terrible conditions by people who don't really understand how it works. Intelligence Officer Kyungmin Ju was responsible for monitoring galactic communications and tracking requests for human engineering services. His reports showed a pattern of demand that was growing exponentially across known space. Director, he announced during the weekly deployment meeting, 63 different civilizations have submitted formal requests for human engineering consultants in the past month. The requests are coming in faster than we can process them. What types of requests? Everything, Ju replied, showing holographic displays of the various crisis situations. Failed power systems, broken transportation networks, malfunctioning communication arrays, collapsed manufacturing facilities. Every type of machine that galactic civilization depends on is experiencing failures that local engineers cannot repair. The pattern was becoming clear to everyone involved in the human engineering deployment program. The galaxy had built their entire technological civilization using machines that were designed to work perfectly but could not be repaired when they inevitably broke down. Team Beta was deployed to handle a different type of crisis, the collapse of interstellar shipping networks in the Outer Commerce region. Senior engineer HYO Jung Shin arrived to find that elegant alien cargo handling systems had shut down completely, stranding millions of tons of essential supplies. Our cargo transfer systems achieved 98% efficiency ratings, explained Port Authority Director Kmeltar as he showed Shin through the paralyzed shipping facilities. They were mathematical marvels of engineering optimization. And now they don't work at all, Shin observed, examining the sophisticated but completely non-functional equipment. We cannot understand why they stopped. There are no apparent component failures or system errors. Shin began building replacement cargo systems using human engineering principles, simple mechanical devices with obvious moving parts, manual backup controls, and repair access points everywhere. Your replacement systems will achieve perhaps 60% efficiency compared to our original designs, Kmeltar protested as he watched Shin's team construct what looked like primitive industrial machinery. But they'll achieve that 60% efficiency for the next 300 years, Shin replied, while your 98% efficient systems achieve 0% efficiency because they can't be fixed. The galaxy was slowly learning that human technology was not more advanced than alien technology. It was something completely different, antifragile technology that became more reliable rather than less reliable when subjected to damage, misuse, and neglect. Equipment designer Jun Ho-on had been assigned to demonstrate human engineering philosophy to alien technical universities. His presentations were causing fundamental changes in how galactic engineering schools taught their students. The key to understanding human machines, he explained to a lecture hall filled with alien engineering students, is that we design them expecting abuse. He activated a human-built power generator and began systematically damaging it with various tools. Each time he broke something, the machine compensated and continued operating. Perfect machines have perfect failure modes, on continued. When one critical component stops working, the entire system shuts down. But ugly machines have ugly failure modes. When something breaks, the rest of the machine just works harder to compensate. The alien students watched in fascination and horror as human technology proved superior to their advanced designs through its very willingness to accept damage and imperfection. The galaxy was discovering that the most unstoppable machines in the universe were not the most advanced or the most efficient. They were the machines that had been designed by humans who understood that everything breaks eventually. The Galactic Engineering Congress convened 6 months after the quantum resonance network crisis, when the galaxy's most advanced civilizations finally understood the true scope of what human engineers had done to their technological foundation. The meeting was held aboard the Grand Technical Assembly Station, a massive facility that showcased the finest engineering achievements of dozens of different species. Chief Engineer Dongwoo Kim walked into the enormous Congress chamber to face representatives from every major engineering civilization in known space. The atmosphere was completely different from the polite curiosity he had encountered during his first galactic engineering mission. Now the alien delegates were angry, frustrated, and demanding answers for what they were calling the human-machine problem. The chamber itself was a testament to galactic engineering achievement. The walls were made from materials that seemed to bend light around them, the ceiling projected real-time views of engineering projects across the galaxy, and the floors contained data processing systems that could calculate the structural integrity of entire planets. But despite all this advanced technology, the chamber was filled with the angry voices of engineers whose perfect machines had been replaced by crude human alternatives that somehow worked better than anything they had ever built. Your machines are completely crude, accused Supreme Engineer Velcua, pointing an accusing finger at the human delegation. They leak energy, produce unnecessary noise, require constant maintenance, and violate every principle of efficient engineering design. Engineer Kim was currently in the process of repairing one of the chamber's advanced galactic computers using a simple hammer and some spare wire he had brought from his toolkit. The computer had stopped working 20 minutes into the Congress session, and the alien technicians had been unable to restore function using any of their sophisticated diagnostic equipment. Kim looked up from his repair work and nodded in agreement with the alien's accusation. "And they work when your perfect machines stop functioning," he said while giving the computer a firm tap with his hammer. The advanced alien technology immediately resumed normal operation. "But this is barbaric," protested Technical Coordinator Thexval, watching in horror as Kim used crude manual tools to repair equipment that had been designed by some of the galaxy's finest engineering minds. "You are damaging precision components with primitive instruments." Maintenance Director Yongsa Lee stood up from where he had been working on the chamber's environmental control system, which had been experiencing temperature regulation problems that the station's engineering staff could not solve. "We build machines assuming that someone will eventually break them, ignore all maintenance schedules, and use them in ways they were never intended to be used," Lee explained while demonstrating human engineering principles to the assembled alien experts. He had constructed a simple mechanical thermostat from spare parts that was now controlling the chamber's temperature more effectively than the original crystalline climate control system that had been installed when the station was built. "This completely violates established engineering principles," protested Engineering Coordinator Thexval, his voice rising with frustration. "Proper machine design requires mathematical optimization for maximum efficiency under controlled operating parameters." Design specialist Sejong Oh had been working on her latest demonstration of human engineering philosophy, a power core that she had deliberately designed to function better after sustaining damage rather than worse. "Your engineering principles assume perfect operating conditions that exist only in mathematics," she said, activating her power core and then immediately hitting it with various tools to simulate damage and misuse. "Human engineering principles assume that reality will interfere with mathematical perfection." The power core not only continued operating after being damaged, but actually began producing more energy output than it had when it was functioning normally. The alien engineers watched in amazement and confusion as the machine improved its performance in response to abuse. The truth that was emerging from the Congress sessions was more disturbing to galactic civilization than any military threat they had ever faced. While every advanced species had spent centuries perfecting engineering designs for ideal conditions, humans had spent the same time perfecting engineering for the real world where nothing ever worked according to plan. Systems analyst So-Minute Choi activated a demonstration that silenced every argument about human engineering inferiority. She showed the Congress a machine that had been built by human engineers 50 years earlier and had been running continuously ever since without receiving any professional maintenance. "This power generator," she announced, "has been operating for 50 years using only repairs performed by untrained personnel with basic tools. It has never received maintenance from qualified engineers, and it has never been shut down for service." The machine was ugly, noisy, and obviously inefficient by galactic standards. But it had been running longer than most of the alien engineers in the chamber had been alive, and it showed no signs of stopping. "Primitive technology that works all the time is superior to advanced technology that stops working when something goes wrong," Choi concluded. Intelligence Officer Kyung-Minute Ju stood up to announce information that made several alien delegates gasp in shock. "For the record, 74 galactic civilizations have begun replacing their perfect machines with human-designed crude technology in the past 3 months." The scope of the technological revolution was becoming clear. Across the galaxy, sophisticated engineering was being abandoned in favor of human designs that prioritized reliability over efficiency. "How do we compete with machines that actually improve when they are damaged?" asked Supreme Technical Director Kexfor, desperation clear in his voice. Engineer Kim looked at the alien representative with genuine sympathy while his crude repair tools continued to outperform the precision instruments that alien engineers had been using unsuccessfully for months. "You have 2 choices, he said kindly. "You can change your entire engineering philosophy to match human approaches, or you can accept that your perfect machines will always be inferior to our broken ones." "But why do your inferior machines work better than our superior designs?" Maintenance Director Lee was teaching a group of alien engineering students how to repair advanced technology using basic human tools and techniques. "Because superior designs work perfectly when everything goes according to plan. Inferior designs work adequately when everything goes wrong." As the human engineering delegation prepared to return to Earth, They left behind a galaxy that was in the process of rebuilding its entire technological infrastructure using human design principles that prioritized function over form. Director Sung-Ho Yo looked back at the Grand Technical Assembly Station, where alien engineers were already beginning to modify their perfect machines to include human-style access panels, backup systems, and manual override controls. The galaxy learned too late that Earth doesn't build machines that work perfectly under ideal conditions, he said to his team as they boarded their transport ship. We build machines that never stop working, no matter how badly they are treated, how poorly they are maintained, or how far reality deviates from the original design specifications.